Hey there YouTube, this is Mr. Butcher. I know it's been quite some time with one of these, but I got some inspiration after getting my ass handed to me at locals due to the Kai and Aichi decks. So, you may be wondering why am I talking about those two decks, which is Cater and Dragon Empire, while we're looking at a Dark Six deck. Well, that's because due to Oselargest getting some new card support and me really sitting down with the deck and really thinking it through, I found a way to get this deck to perform like it was an icon deck. Where, if you guys have been noticing, the reason why those two decks have been doing very well are up to three things. One, they're very consistent. Two, they can switch up their battle formations mid-game. For those who don't know, if you stay, for example, on Kai's deck, if you stay on Overlord, you're attacking 4 times a turn. But once you go into Vortex Dragon, you're switching it up to 5 attacks a turn. Where then your opponent's been spending all the time defending against 4 attacks, they don't have the necessary guard to deal with that extra 5th attack. And then finally, but not least, they draw a ton of cards. So I took those 3 concepts and then put them into this deck. This card does all of that and a bit more. It is piece reliant, again, because it's not tuned to do so. This deck doesn't have all its pieces tuned to play that play style. So it is piece reliant, but once you get those pieces in circulation and going, you should have a pretty okay time. The numbers are anywhere between 40 or higher, so you are making good numbers. Your Vanguard is swinging for about 31 to 41 constantly. And because this is a trial deck, you are getting Persona Ride all the time. So I'm going to go through the ride line once before, and then explain the deck in the concept, like more depth, and then I'm going to detail and show you how the deck performs. So, as always before the ride line, we are playing the Oselargest ride line. Reasons why: we need cards in soul, draw ability for extras, and also, again, Persona Ride. So, any starter would do. I chose that one because it seems like that starter kind of looks like a mini version of Oselargest. Side note, do you guys think the starter Vanguards are ever going to get evolutions? I know a lot of bosses get evolutions, but I would really like to see Oselargest get an evolution to really up the ceiling of the deck profile. Next, of course, again, this is a Persona Ride deck. We are playing 3 extra copies of Oselargest. We are, of course, playing his grade 3 partner, Tilgon. We're playing him at 3 copies. For those who don't know what these cards do, look at my other videos on Oselargest for more in-depth on these skills. But you will see those in the demonstration towards the end of the video. Next, we're playing 3 copies of the new grade 3 order, which is the better Cage of Fury Star. This is the Education order. For those who don't know, once again, you're going to hear that a lot. You can play the order, put it into soul, so you're always going to go +1 into soul to this. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card, put it into soul, put the other 2 at the bottom deck in any order, then call a card with grade equal to or less than your Vanguard. Unlike Cage of Fury Star, which is just a random soul charge that gives power, this doesn't give any power. I wish it did. It would have been great if it also said, if you Persona Ride, give the unit you call out plus 10,000 power. Just so it can be more potent, but unfortunately that's not the case. Maybe we'll get an order like that in the future. Next, we play 4 copies of Half Beast Demonic Spearman, Sadogoro. Sadogoro is the keystone of this deck. Without this card, the ability to go between 4 attacks and 5 attacks is unattainable. So his ability is that if your Vanguard is Oselargest, he gets a constant 5,000 power, so he'll always be a 15k beater. Then, during the battle phase, if he's retired during the battle phase for having another card placed on top of him, you may counter blast 1 and then call a card that does not share his name from your soul to a rear guard circle. So this extends your attacks. Oselargest also has the ability to extend your attacks as well. So that way, once per turn, you're calling at least 2 to 3 cards out of your deck per turn, out of your soul per turn. Next, we're playing 3 copies of the order, the Schemer. This card allows you to find a specific set order, which is Games of the Underworld, which we're playing at 2 copies. This also helps you perform the 4 to 5 attack turns. You need this to see this about grade 2 to early first grade 3 turn. You need to get this order into rotation as fast as possible. At least one copy. Schemer finds it. Schemer searches your deck for it off of Soul Blast for being placed. It can even be placed in the battle phase and searched during the battle phase. Next, we play the 2 copies of the new support that Oselargest got. This card states if it's in the drop zone and you ride your Vanguard, which again you will do, you may Soul Blast one, and if there are no copies of this card on your board, you may call it to Rearguard Circle. And if your Vanguard is Oselargest, it gets 5,000 power. But if you Persona roll that turn, it gets 10,000 power. Mind you, it does not need to be called out to gain the power. If you leave it on board and it rolls back to your turn, he'll immediately get the power. Same thing with the grade 2 Sadagoros. And last but not least, the only other grade 2 we're playing the Regalia piece, Twin Cast for a little defense. Next are the grade 1s. We're playing 1 copy of, I don't know this card's name, 1 copy of Demonic Path Autocrat Vasgor. Vasgor is here to do one thing and one thing only. Be a replacement for one card that we lost because of another Dark States deck that got restricted down to 2 of. I would love to play more copies of it in my deck, but because of the other Chrono deck, it got reduced down to 2, so I needed another card that will find me a grade 3. For those who know, this card states you discarded Soul Blast 2 cards that were in your ride. Sorry, Soul Blast or just remove from game from Soul or Drop Zone 2 cards that were in your ride deck, and then look at the top 7 for a grade 3 that does not match your grade 3 Vanguard's name. If you don't get it, you add this card back to your hand. So technically, you get 2 chances at it. That's all you really need because again, there's only 4 cards in your ride line. But the reason why I don't really like this card because it eats up a lot of my soul. There's 2 cards out of my soul. I would prefer to get them out of my drop zone. I don't have to worry about it later on. But if again this is like early turns and I need the grade 3s, it kind of eats up a lot of your soul. So it can be beneficial. I might take it out. I might not. Who knows? But just 1 copy. Next, the grade 1 I was talking about. 2 copies of Corvel. Corvel has the ability similar to that grade 2. If it's in the drop zone, you ride a Chrono or Oselargest Vanguard. You may call it to rearguard and soul charge 1 card. Now that's not really a cost, it's just a +1. But his other abilities at the end of the battle that he boosted, in your Vanguard is in Oselargest or Chrono. You may move this card into your soul, look at the top 5 for a grade 3 and reveal it and add it to your hand. So this is just another way to cycle out your grade 3s and get them on board and also continuously get at least 1 to 2 cards in soul. Next, part of the draw engine of the deck, we're playing 3 copies of Hardy Pilgrimage. Pilgrimage has the ability similar to Corvel. And once you ride an Oselargest Vanguard, you may Soul Blast 1 and call this card the Rearguard Circle, and if you do, Energy Charge 1. So it always keeps your energy +1 because Oselargest Energy Blast is 4, you Energy Charge 3, it gives you the +1. That way you have a full 4 to go. The other ability of this card is that at the end of the battle, it boosted a Tilgon. You may move Tilgon, and a card from your drop zone into your soul, 3+3, draw 1 card. Tilgon has the ability that if it's moved from rearguard into soul by a card ability, you may Soul Blast 2 cards in your soul who do not match its card name and draw a card. So upwards, you're drawing 2 cards with this combination. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Advent Wrestler. This is just another 3 copies of our order. Just in case we don't get it early enough, we need to start cycling things out of our soul. This is just another way to get it. And then, of course, we're playing 3 PG and 1 Sanctitude. For triggers, we're going with the purple OT. Again, this deck does not have a lot of defensive capability outside of drawing triggers and whatnot, so you need something offensively and offensively to try to mitigate your damage. So for those who again don't know, the purple OT says if you hit it offensively, you may choose 1 card in your damage and add it to your hand, and then you may call a card from your hand to Rearguard Circle and give that unit plus 10,000 power. You don't have to, which means you can add back PGs, other triggers, whatever you may need to defend yourself out of your damage zone. And then if you want to press a bit more, get that 5th or more or 6th attack in, then that can also benefit. This card for this deck kind of works like a 6 attack. When you go in for your 5th attack turn, if you're lucky enough to hit this on that turn, you can go in for a 6 attack. Or call a booster behind one of your 5th attacks. Again, defensive. I cannot improvise that enough. Your Vanguard really doesn't do much to mitigate damage or anything like that, so you need as much defensive capability as possible. Just pure defense is best. But going on the offense is also good, so we're going with 8 critical trigger. We're trying to end the game as fast as possible. Unfortunately, you can only thin the deck so much off of your turns, besides your Vanguard taking copies of itself out of the deck, the order allowing to cycle things out, and things of that nature, and just drawing in general. You can only thin your deck so much, so having as many chances to hit a crit as possible is very paramount. Last but not least, we are playing 4 heal triggers to end out the triggers. Again, you want to try to live. Alright, so I'll give you a small demonstration after we do a bit of shuffling, and then I'll present the board, and then we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, welcome back. So this is the board. This is the board state that you kind of want to work towards. So the idea is that you need at least 2 counterblasts and working like this. So the first thing you want to do is counterblast 1. Search your deck for a copy of your Vanguard. Your Vanguard now receives 10,000 power. Mind you, the 2 units on the right side of your screen, my left, will also receive 5,000 power each for having the Vanguard be an Oselargest. And that's basically really all you want to do. Then a battle phase, this effect, giving this the ability to boost. You're always going to start here. Mind you, you're going to have a few cards in your drop zone, give or take. You're going to want to swing here, skill. You're going to Soul Blast 1. If you do have a copy of the Vanguard in your soul, that's even better. If you Soul Blast anything else, he'll receive 5,000 power. But if you Soul Blast a copy of the Vanguard, he'll receive 15,000 power, making this a 21, 31, 36k column. Then at the end of the battle, skill of Pilgrimage, you put 1, 2, a card from the drop zone into soul. You'll draw 1 card. Then you'll activate the skill of Tilgon, removing 2 cards from your soul, any 2 that do not share its card name, and then draw again. So far, that's already 2 draws. Then you'll swing here for 30,000 power. This is the 4 attack formatted step. Attack with the Vanguard, Energy Blast 4. Choose 1 card from your soul and call it to Radar Circle and give that unit 10,000 power. Effect, Counter Blast 1. Choose another unit from your soul that does not share this card name of the grade 2 and call it to Radar. Will always be the Pilgrimage as stated before. So this is now a 31k column twin drive. First check, nothing. Second check, nothing. Skill into soul. Look at the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You only have the 1 grade 3. Again, this is just you thinning your deck for the grade 3s for the next turn. Draw, and then we go right back to battle phase. Swing, skill. You did put back the grade 3 copy of the Vanguard from the drop zone, so now you can implement that 15k power again. At the end of the battle, you go 1, 2. Choose anything that you would like. Let's say, for example, one of the units that you lost. We'll put this back in here for next turn to get it out. So these 3 will go into soul. You'll draw 1 card. At this step, you always want to soul blast these 2 cards. That way, when you ride into your grade 3 Vanguard next turn, these will trigger and pop themselves out alongside the grade 2. You always want to end with these 3 cards in your drop zone. That way you can benefit from their skills next turn. And you can draw upwards to 7 cards. 7 cards a turn. So be mindful of your deck out. But then we're gonna take a look at the 5 attack turn. Okay, so now we're looking at the 5 attack turn. Mind you, during your 5 attack turn, you're most likely going to be on a persona ride turn. So the powers will look something similar to this. Solid Guards will get 5,000 power. The clock will receive 10,000 power for being on a persona ride turn. You'll use your Vanguard skill once again to counter blast 1. Search your deck for a copy of itself, thinning your deck by 1. And do keep in mind you want to have at least one extra copy of Tilgon and the copy of the Vanguard in your soul. But again, since this is a Persona Red turn, you'll naturally have it in there. But you want to have a copy of Tilgon in your soul for this 5 attack turn. Sorry guys, that's the little one. If you guys know, you know, but that's the little one fussing in the background. Alright, so how you perform the 5 attack turn, you're going to swing with the Tilgon's column first. You're going to boost, Soul Blast a copy of the Vanguard, gain 15,000 power. This is now 21, 31, 41, 46,000. Skill, put 1, 2, and 3 as before. Into the soul, you're going to draw 1 card. Perform the same skill again for the amount of soul that you have. Soul Blast, draw another card. This time, you have the choice. If you think you need it, then do it. But if not, mitigate the attack potential. You can either swing with full column or half column. It's your choice. Game state wise, just keep track of your game state. But for reasons for argument, we're going to swing with full column. This will be 10, 20, 30, 40, 45,000. And then you'll swing, skill, EB4. Superior Call like before. But this time you're going to Superior Call both Tilgons out. That way you get 5 attacks. This will receive 10,000 power. This is a 41k column. You'll go 1, over trigger. Very nice. You draw 1 for the over trigger effect. Add a card back here. Let's say we just add this. Doesn't matter. And then we can choose up to 1 card from our hand to call. We won't call. But naturally you will call a booster if you had it. Like something that can boost. Depending. And then again, there's no saying that you could. But let's say you made it have to chase to go 4. This will help you get to your 5th attack. But that's regardless of the point. 100 million power here, whatever. Didn't think that was going to happen, but still. But this is how you get your 5th attack, and this is what you want to kind of look like. Then skill into soul, check top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We didn't find, actually that was the 5th card, didn't find anything. And then shuffle deck like normal. So, upwards between now, so we only have 1 extra copy of the Vanguard in soul. So now here comes decision making. Now if you're able to get 2 copies in the soul through the course of the game, great, leave them in there. That way you don't really have to make this decision. But if you do, you have that decision to make this a 38k body or 10k less, or make this 15k more. But if you decide to give the 5k power here, they're both going to swing for 38,000. So they're decent numbers. If you get more triggers, then so be it, like the over trigger or whatever. So be it, make them bigger. You know how Vanguard goes, but this is kind of what you want to do. So you want to swing, skill, Soul Blast. This is now 38, attack, Soul Blast. You can only give it 5,000 power for Soul Blasting anything outside of the Vanguard. This is now 38 as well. So that's the 5 attack turn. Now you would have upwards between doing all of those things throughout the game. You have upwards between 7 to 6 cards per turn. Then you're going to go into here for your kill turn. I recommend that you trying to swing here around 3 to 4 damage of your opponent. That way you're kind of guaranteed. And again, your deck won't be as big as this because throughout the game you're thinning your deck, things of that nature. But that is how both type of attack strategies work. If you're gonna go for the 4 attack, you're basically trying to farm hand, gain hand. That's all you're basically trying to do. And it's very good for the upcoming Link Joker meta because you can phantom fill your board. But going with the 5 attack turns, you're going to leave a lot of cards on your board to get locked, just letting you know. But again, going 4 attacks, you maintain your hand, maintain pressure, hitting for good numbers, and then also your phantom filling your board. So I hope you enjoyed. If you guys want to see any other trial decks up with new support, I have a bunch of friends who are all interested in those decks, who have built incredible decks around those. Give this deck a try. See how you guys like it, and leave down in the comments and see if you got lucky with it. Unfortunately, I've been having nothing but bad luck with this deck. That's just me personally. Again, nothing to say about the deck. It does all the meta stuff. I just haven't had any good luck. But maybe you will. If you guys like what you saw, please like, subscribe, And as always, this is Mr. Budget saying keep it fun, keep it budget, and we'll see you guys here next time. Peace.